The next book I have to review for you is a book that is little known to English-speaking and English-reading audiences, unfortunately. The book is called Dom Casmurro, and it is by a Brazilian author by the name of Joaquim Maria Machado de Assis. That is as good as my lame attempt at a Portuguese name is ever going to get. Actually, I went to Forvo.com that pronounces a lot of foreign words and authors' names that you may not have heard of before, and they actually pronounce his name Machado de Assis, almost like it's J-E instead of D-E. Maybe that's because it's Brazilian, or maybe that's because it's Portuguese instead of Spanish. Anyway, Dom Casmurro is one of those books that if you had the good fortune to be given a solid Brazilian education in the humanities as opposed to a solid American one, you would be quite familiar with. In fact, de Assis is still regularly assigned in literature classes there, and is regarded as one of the greatest writers working in the Portuguese language in the 19th century. It's one of those serendipities of history that we Anglophones don't know him better, as many commentaries on the novel all too enthusiastically point out. He displays some unusual parallels with writers who were his contemporaries but writing in other languages, writers I name three French ones here, Flaubert, Balzac, and Zola. On the surface, the story consists of a pretty simple love story between a young boy named Bento, whose mother has ambitions of him becoming a seminarian, and Bento's beloved, whose name is Capitu. Bento actually goes to the seminary for a short time and meets and befriends a fellow seminarian named Escobar. There's a possibility that Escobar also loves Capitu, but de Assis leaves this wonderfully ambiguous and doesn't really iron out the details or let us know if there is something there. Flaubert, however, never played with this unreliable narrator to the extent that de Assis does in this novel. Because of the open ambiguity of Escobar's feelings, Bento and his ravenous jealousy are left to narrate the novel as they will, and it does seem that his jealousy often becomes a character all its own, with its own dynamism and its own drives. It shapes the entire world of Escobar's intentions, Bento's jealousy does, and all the while never leaving Capitu the time to shape her own explanations or actions in response to Bento's jealousy. Does Bento have reason to feel this jealousy, or is it all just a figment of his own imagination? We, the reader, are never really told. These questions, which could otherwise form a good denouement for the action, are never resolved. You're left in the position that Bento is, examining the minute details of his life and his relationship for signs of Capitu's infidelity. It's difficult to tell whether someone like Ford Madox Ford knew of de Assis's work, but if he did, I wouldn't be the least surprised, because there are a lot of similarities with The Good Soldier, which postdates this novel by 15 years. But the similarities are sort of uncanny if you go back and read both of the novels very closely. The use of the unreliable narrator in the examination of a love triangle, or is it a triangle? Could just be a line. We don't know. But the use of an unreliable narrator in the examination of a possible love triangle is pretty rivetingly well done and very effective. For those weaned on the European canon, like I was, and interested in branching out and finding new writers whose names may not be as well recognized in the English-speaking world, you could do a lot worse than Machado de Assis. Joaquin Maria. The novel is Dom Casmurro.